Prepper Project, preparing for the EMP. This is Throttle Up Prepper. Prepper Project, preparing for the EMP. How you doing? Welcome to Throttle Up Prepper. I am your host, Jeff, and welcome to the show. For all of you new subscribers, and there are several, thank you for joining us. And for those of you who've been around for a while, thanks for coming back. I appreciate you very greatly. Make sure you guys who are just watching this for maybe the first or second time, go ahead and subscribe. And click like on this video, share it, and let's help get the word out and help as many people as we can. Also, be sure to stop by the website. It's at the bottom of the screen, simply throttleupprepper.com. We got a blog, we got a store, we got all kinds of stuff that you may find helpful. So go check it out. Now, we are talking about EMP, the dreaded electromagnetic pulse, thanks to Kim Jong-un and our North Korean buddies, as well as Mr. Vladamir Putin, and our Russian buddies, and Xing Pang, Ping Pong, the guy from China, President Ping. I don't know his name. Probably should look that up. I meant to look it up before we started this, and I failed. I failed miserably, so go ahead and, think lowly of me. It is what it is. So, been doing lots of communications and other kind of videos, everything from CB to ham radio. I recently upgraded to general. Made a big purchase for my Christmas present, which of course we can't do that video, obviously, until the week after Christmas because it's under the tree. My wife still made me wrap it up, so I can't get my hands on my new radio. But I am preparing for that day. Still working on getting that 102-foot antenna outside, and this beast behind me, that you can see, I just got and wanted a steel cabinet to EMP proof, or at least help to ensure not only my ham radio equipment, and my CB and some other things, my laptop, but to EMP proof as much stuff as possible without having a bunch of old microwaves with cords cut off laying around the house, because that's just not me. I don't want to do that. Had a neighbor who was getting rid of this thing. It's perfect. It's double walled. And let me talk to you before we show you inside a little bit about the steel file cabinet and its usefulness or not. I've done some extensive research, and here's the bottom line. Since 1962, when the Soviets detonated a high-altitude nuke to test an EMP in Kazakhstan, we don't have a whole lot of data. Since then, everything is computer simulations. Now, I don't know when it comes to weather modeling and computer simulations. It's a little questionable and dicey, so I don't know. I would imagine it's a little more accurate with this type of thing. Maybe not. So we're just putting that out there, and I want to discourage you from an all or nothing way of conducting yourselves when it comes to EMP. In other words, if I can't afford, the best, most reliable, perfect, 100% of the time, so says this person or that person, then I'm not buying it. I'm not doing it. Well, okay. If that's how you are, that's the way you want it to be, so be it. But as for me, any protection I can get is better than nothing. Maybe not. But, baby steps. So this is where I'm at the beginning of this project. I got a way to go. I'm not going to do 10 videos on this, so we're going to do the one now, starting out, tell you what my plans are, what I think I'm going with this, and a few weeks down the road, we'll do a final product version and show you what I actually did or didn't do. So right now, what I have found out, in a perfect world, a Faraday cage, and that means different things to different people. Some people say you got to have them grounded. Some say don't ground them. My thinking at the moment is grounding these things. If you're not a professional and don't absolutely know what you're doing, and by a professional I mean you have an electrical engineering degree and you specialize in EMP, you're probably going to do it wrong. I'm probably going to do it wrong. And in a worst case scenario, that grounding wire acts as an antenna and brings in those 500 megahertz and above frequencies into whatever it is you're trying to protect in the first place. Not a good idea. Copper wiring, mesh screening made out of copper, absolutely far and away most sources believe is the best, followed by aluminum. Steel, which you see behind me, is acceptable, not the best, but we're going to make modifications as we go. I got this thing for free. It was given to me, so far I'm doing good. Anything I spend will be justified. So let's just take you in. And by the way, the reason steel, one of these steel cabinets, isn't the best idea. Steel is a decent conductor of electricity, true, and could shield it. But when they paint these things, the paint acts as an insulator and takes away, diminishes from the desired effect of taking those high frequency electromagnetic pulse waves, which is electricity, and making it go around the cabinet rather than in the cabinet. So right now there's a fundamental problem where it's insulated, and we've got spaces in the doors and elsewhere that have to be taken into account and fixed. But this is where we're starting out. I got some double-sided, nice cabinet here. You see I got my radios in here, and then the other thing I'm going to have to do to insulate the radios, once we get the general problem of conductivity on the shell solved, is I am going to have to put, I forget what it's called, but there's a little unit that goes on the antenna wire, which, you know, again, the antenna is going to do what it does. It's going to act like an antenna, and even though it's not tuned to those frequencies, it's still going to pick it up and draw the pulse, into the cabinet. So we're going to have to mitigate that problem as well. I've got some rubberized pads coming to further shield the radios from the cabinet. Again, we got a space here. We're missing a radio. Just for example, I'll be keeping my ham radio portable and my little CB when they're not in use down here. Because at the most, and I mean the most right now, I spend maybe an hour a day on this thing, running my mouth during the week. I normally don't use it on the weekends. I think that activity is going to pick up a bit come Christmas, day after Christmas. Probably spend Christmas playing with the kids, of course. But the next day, I'll probably be down here learning how to use that beast. So probably be a little more. But for the vast majority, at least 22, 23 hours a day plus, these things are not in use. So having them inside of a EMP-proof sort of cabinet is good. The other thing that's helping me out, just so you know, I'm in a brick house, brick and concrete block, rebar. I'm partially underground here, and depending on exactly, presumably a nuke would be detonated over the center of the country, which is kind of north and west of here, and I'm almost completely underground toward that side. So depending on the angle the radiation comes in, depends how effective this is as well. But we're going to make modifications. So, you know, basically, you know, I got my laptop in here. It's just two shelves. I think it's about 23 inches deep. I didn't really measure it. It's a couple feet across. Two shelves, as you can see, not much down here. Just keep my microphone. Plan to put the second radio down here, the antenna tuner, and likely we'll move some other things in. You know from a previous video, I have a small Faraday bag that I keep in my bug out bag that's got some power supplies, backup iPhone with some critical data on it. We likely won't be able to connect to cell towers or the internet, but at least being able to power up, get a little extra light source, get an ability to you know, look at a map, or got a wild plants app. Tells you what's edible and what's not. I can't see it, but people in my house can see it, and they'll be able to tell me, Dad, stay away from that grass, or whatever. So it's pretty bare bones, pretty basic. Of course, we're going to have to ground the radios themselves to the cabinets. maybe not. In general, you're supposed to do that, but for the point of EMP proofing, I'm thinking the grounding might be bad. So we're going to rather try to insulate the radio from the cabinet. I've got some rubber mats, padding, whatever you want to call it, coming in. I'm thinking, because there's a couple ways you can go. Of course, you can strip the paint off, exposing the bare steel. Sounds like a mess, sounds like a nightmare, especially for a blind man. Not sure I want to go that route. That's one way to partially deal with, the problems presented by this cabinet and still be able to take care of its benefits, or keep the benefits, I should say. Another option is, I understand, I haven't found it yet, but electronics paint. They have paint with like metal infused, I presume aluminum, don't really know, but it makes the paint itself conductive. So that's an option, if I can find it, and it's not $100 for a can. Hopefully be able to spray this beast down. Another option is like screen, the window screen. They actually have aluminum, silver, unpainted, unmessed with aluminum screening. That seems to be an option. They also have aluminum foil infused tapes. I'm looking at a number of options. I got a little time, I hope. Hopefully Vladimir Putin and Kim Jong-un and President Ping, they don't go nuts on us before then. And the other thing is, beyond that, of course, the solar activity, coronal mass ejections and whatnot. 1859 it happened, 1911 it happened, hasn't really happened in a devastating way since then. We're due. And from my studies for the ham radio, it's 11-year cycles, I believe, and we're heading out of the bottom of a cycle, so presumably sometime in the next 10 years, activity will be high and possibilities increase, I suppose. I'm not a scientist, just what I understand. So this is my project, my next project. I got to put a couple layers of insulation and conductive material between the outside and the inside, but I think this is the perfect size for me to keep most of what I need safe. Another option, if all else fails, Amazon's got some Faraday bags, 16 by 15 inch, I think for about $40-something, $45. It'd be a pain in the backside, but when my radios are not in use, simply unplug them, slip them in a bag, close the door. So that I'd be about $130, $140 or so with tax. Grab 3 more bags and keep stuff inside the file cabinet between the Faraday bag and the cabinet itself. Should be good. I don't know. What are you doing to protect yourself from the EMP? What's your EMP project? I hear the galvanized aluminum or steel garbage cans are good if you can get one without a dent that fits nice and tight. But then all your stuff's in a garbage can. Clean garbage can, but a garbage can. At least this is somewhat functional, and will be getting more functional. Can't wait to figure out what I'm going to do and actually do it and share it with you later. Listen, we don't know what's coming our way, but it's definitely time for all of us to throttle up. Until next time, God bless. Happy Hanukkah, Merry Christmas, and a Happy New Year coming up to all. Bless you.